We're now joined by former South African under-23 head coach David Notoane, who worked with Fleurs in the national team setup and importantly went to the Olympic Games in Tokyo. A very good afternoon to you, Coach. A somber note that we are talking to one another once again. Can you maybe just take us back to your initial reaction and how you received the news of the hijacking and the fatal hijacking last night?
Yeah, thanks, Vaylin. Good afternoon to you, the listeners of the show. Let me first take this opportunity to pay my respects and homage and heartfelt condolences to Luke Fleurs' family. Heartfelt condolences to Kaizer Chiefs, the club he was playing for. Heartfelt condolences to SuperSport United and Ubuntu, the people that paved the way for him to be where he ended at Kaizer Chiefs, last year, as you indicated. And of course, to the larger football fraternity, we are saddened, and our condolences go to everyone, friends, family, football friends, and everyone. Yeah, indeed, the news came through yesterday. Funny enough, it was in one of our groups here at Mamelodi Sundowns that the news came, and I was really, really taken aback and saddened and couldn't really believe that such a young, talented guy is no more, in a spur of a moment.
And I suppose as a coach, you knew him better than most because you were able to follow him closely through the junior ranks when you were still with the South African Football Association through those development structures.
Yeah, certainly, you remember that I worked with Coach Thabo Sinong in the under-20s, and we're following Luke Fleurs from his days at the under-17, and he was really, really unfortunate not to make the cut to the World Cup, but he contributed, and then hence he graduated to the under-23 and well on his way to represent Bafana Bafana in the near future. Young as he is, remember he just turned 24 last month. So a very, very young, talented guy, a very humble guy, very jovial person, young guy, always, with a smile on his face you would see in most of the games. But I used to call him a gentle giant. He could be hard, especially as a defender. He could be robust. And those are the qualities that he possessed, and really a promising talent for the future of South African football in terms of Bafana Bafana. It's no more, and it's really sad.
You can't quantify the loss of a life. Can we quantify perhaps the loss to South African football through his passing?
Yeah, it's difficult, of course, as you said. You can't quantify the loss of life. But if you look at the pipeline of talent for South African football and you look at where Bafana Bafana is now, we're really looking forward for him to become one of the graduates to Bafana Bafana, probably going into the next World Cup 2026, if not 2030. So indeed, it's a big, big loss for the talent pool of the country. And as a country, of course, when you have these talented players not cutting, their talent through to Bafana Bafana, it only says that it limits your possibilities to compete successfully at the international level. And Luke Fleurs for us was one of those that was really on the right track to go make it. His move to Kaizer Chiefs, of course, was exciting as a free agent, and it was a step in the right direction to test his talents at the best levels.
Do you think he was appreciated on the domestic front? Certainly he was able to make an impact at national development through the national youth levels, under 17, under 20, under 23. Do you think his talent was somewhat overlooked on the PSL front?
Yeah, because, he played for SuperSport United, who is your, one of unfancied teams in terms of the support base, in terms of popularity stakes. And unfortunately, that's how it is in our country. You will see a lot of players that are playing for so-called small clubs have to move to the big clubs for them to earn their recognition. And I think Luke is not different. Hence, his move to Kaizer Chiefs would have really elevated his talent and put him into a status that he really, really deserved to be in. You'd remember that he played for 2 seasons consistently for SuperSport as one of the pillars, in the defense, especially under Coach Kaizer Chiefs. also introduced by Coach Kevin Hunt, who's back with the club now. So you can really see that his massive talent was recognizable by us coaches. But definitely, yes, in terms of stature, maybe not taking the right seat in terms of recognizing him because he played for your less fashion teams.
And as the news starts to settle in, if you can think of perhaps that first memory that comes to mind that really kind of captures that fun-loving, gentle giant that you know Luke Fleurs to be.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing with Luke Fleurs is that actually his dad was a big fan of me back in the days of Athlone Stadium, you know, the smoky Athlone Stadium. And he was a big supporter of Santos, and he kept pestering me, you know, over the years to say he's got his son, who, you know, we must move. At the time I was at Santos, and he wanted him to come join Santos. Now the funny part is, never met him in person at youth level, and while we were preparing to go to the Olympics, so we're having a chat around him as a person and getting to get to know his family setup. And he actually reminded me that, you know, his father was a big fan of me, and actually it connected back to say he always spoke about him, and you know, condolences to his father really in person. And at that point, I actually said to him, you see, you should have been actually part of my pathway long ago. Yeah, look, you know, when you were with him, it was always fun moments, and I actually teased him a lot to say, you are so nice, you are so gentle, but sometimes, you know, you need to awaken the lion in you or the elephant in you because you are big, because a bull elephant is a fighting element, you know. So when we went to Tokyo, we were joking about it to say, please bring Luke the bull and not Luke the nice guy. So, yeah, Luke was a very fun guy and Rastafarian. And one of the conversations we had, of course, you know, what goes with the Rastafarian culture, you know, and I was actually talking to him about the sacrifices he has to make in balancing out his religious belief vis-a-vis the football demands in terms of performances, you know. So really sad, and we had some good moments in Tokyo, of course, under difficult circumstances because of we were isolated, but, you know, Luke always put up a smile on his face, always willing to help, always willing to support. You know, what a good kid, what a loss really to the country, and what a loss to his family and their friends. At such a young age, he really held high hopes for his family to change their lives, to make their lives better. I know where they grew up.
Tragedy.
So it's really sad. Yeah.
Certainly a tragedy. Former South African under-23 head coach David Notoane, thank you so much for sharing just some of the memories of Luke Fleurs, a real tragedy that has befallen not only football and sport in the country, Stephen, but it just highlights once again the violence that so many people are victim to in South Africa. I'll have more sport for you in the next hour.